a portrait drawing on a grayscale piece of paper. I'm going to use, excuse me, charcoal pencil, but I'm starting out with pencils. And the picture I chose is this, another Renaissance artist portrait. It's 3/4 since we did a frontal. So I'm going to try to do a frontal, a profile, and a 3/4 in different media and on different papers. So I'm going to start with a B pencil, and I'm just getting the proportions of the head in on the piece of paper. And I'm starting with my oval again. I'm just starting trying to get everything in the right place. Okay, there's my oval. And since this is 3/4 or maybe even a little bit more than that, or maybe like more like 5/6, the person is looking this way. So the line that I'm putting to divide the face is about here. We're seeing very little of the face on this side. Then I'm going to go a little bit above half for the eyes. Sometimes it's a little bit above half, sometimes it's half. Again, it varies from person to person. And then I'm going to go divide this in half and divide this in half. And I'm trying to do finished drawings instead of sketches. So now I'm going to try to put in the nose. And you know what? This line is actually maybe even a little bit more this way. Remember, for the 3/4, we usually start with the nose instead of the eyes because it's at a weird angle. So I'm trying to put in the nose. Or just basic shape, and I'll refine it later, but just trying to get stuff in the right place to start. The eyebrow. Those are the two lines on above the lips. The lips. And these are not curved or defined. I'm just trying to get kind of things in a general area. And then I'll see if I'm happy with it. Okay, now I'm going to go, this looks like a face on a moon. So I want to try to give it the shape of her face, which is where in 3/4 or those types of views, 5, 6, 7, 8, we see kind of like the bone structure right here of the eye because the person is turned. And this, I'm going to bring this over a little bit. Then we're seeing her cheek come out here. And then it indents. And we're seeing her chin right here. And that's starting to look more like a face. Okay. I'm going to come in with the charcoal pencil in a minute, but I'm just still trying to get stuff in the right place. So this nostril is about out here, and it comes up, and the eyebrow starts after it, or from this line is touching this line. This end is touching this beginning. So I'm trying to put in the shape of the eye, and the eye may be even a little bit closer. I'm not pressing hard because I may move stuff around, still trying to get things in the right area. This eye over here is slightly hidden by the nose, but also it's not really, we're kind of not seeing it close because it's closing on the other side of the face. That's my starting point, and I'll define that more later. And then I'm looking at the shape of this chin, what angle is it coming up over here? And then you see an ear right here. I'm just trying to see kind of where it is. Okay, neck is coming down here and coming down from the ear. Okay, now I'm doing this. She has a lot of hair, so I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. She's wearing a headband. So there's a big space right here. I'm just making a big shape for a chunk of hair, and then I'll fill in the detail later. But I'm trying to break it up into big shapes, and then I'll try to add what the hair looks like later. Okay, so she has kind of bangs and a headband. And the hair on this side is coming over the eye. This may need to be adjusted a little bit, but I'm just trying to get something in there to start. And over here. There's an area. Then she actually has a headband up here. So I'm just making a shape for the headband. And her hair comes out on this side, outside of the ear. I'm starting in pencil because the charcoal pencil would be too messy to like erase and move around. And you can see it on the gray. And some right here. And some of it is coming out over on this side. like that. And then she has hair on top of her headband as well, so I'm going to try to make a shape for that. You can draw this, or you can use a photo or a person. I'm not using a person because I don't have a person here with me to do, but it's a good exercise to start with photographs and then move into people. So, like, get kind of good at doing a couple of photographs or drawings and then move into people. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm that doesn't look exactly like her, but I'm pretty happy with the way, like, I'm pretty happy with the sketch as a starting point. So I'm going to erase some of the lines. That are not going to be seen through, that were guidelines. All right, so now I feel, yes, I'm ready to start. So I'm going to start with a black charcoal pencil, but I'm going to make a line right here just to see if it's how thin it is. I sharpened it, but I want to see. Okay, that looks okay. So now I'm just thinking, bear with me. Again, on the gray paper, you're trying to leave some of the gray as a middle value and add the lights and the darks. I'm just, something seems off to me, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I did figure out what it is. So I think that the eyes need to be a little bit lower because there's more space between the eyes and the eyebrows. You could do that in either way, maybe lower and smaller. So they could be, you could raise the eyebrows or you could lower the eyes. But in this case, I'm lowering the eyes. It kind of looks exactly the same, but okay, let me just check out this eye. Yeah, I lowered it a little tiny bit. I feel like it was a little too high, meaning there's more space right here in between the eye and the eyebrow. And remember, in drawing, you're always moving things. So this is going to be lower as well. So this eye is kind of being cut off. You're not really seeing the edge of it because it's because of the bone structure of the face. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. And I'm going to raise this eyebrow a little bit as well. Okay. I'm just trying to make the shape of the lips. I'm kind of outlining again so that you see how long this process takes. It was 1 or 2 contours in pencil, and now I'm kind of doing the same thing in the charcoal pencil, but I'm still moving stuff around, trying to get it a little bit more refined and a little bit more in the right place. So each layer of contour I'm kind of adjusting things or correcting things. And that's natural. You have to be patient and you have to take your time when you're doing this. And you have to be willing to make changes. And that looks okay. Not great, but okay. And I have to figure out what's going on this side of the face. This looks a little odd. It's not quite right. Yeah, it was too big over there. Still not looking quite right to me, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm changing the contour. I'm doing the hair shapes again, but I'm changing the contour a little bit. And this is quite a little bit, it's time consuming. If you have time, then you can practice quite a bit. And this hair is coming over the eye. I'm just kind of trying to get the contour right. It's not going to look exactly like the picture, but if it looks like a person, then, that's a good start. I'm in the process of learning how to speed up video. But I haven't learned it quite yet. So the first ones are going to be slow. But if you're drawing along, that may help. Okay, it's starting to look kind of okay. Let me try to put in the shape of the ear as how it looks on her. It's a little bit higher than I had it. So again, you're always making changes when you're drawing. That may be a little too high. And I'm going to take a look at the headband contour. And this is not including any of the shading. This is just getting the basic outline on the paper before I put in the shading. Some people would put in shading before that, but when you're beginning, you kind of want to get this down first because the shading will be like you're going to have to erase it if you move something, and that can make quite a bit of a mess on your piece of paper. So if you're just starting out, I recommend getting your contour down first. Okay. This neck is out here, so I'm still changing a little bit more. And even a little bit farther out here. I'm just trying to see, does that neck look too wide to me? But I'm going to keep it here. And that's a creative adjustment. When you draw, it's best to drawing from a photograph or a drawing that you printed out, which is what I'm doing, is it's easier than drawing from an actual person, again, because it's in 2 dimensions instead of 3 dimensions. And but it's a really good way to practice. So I highly recommend it to start. You're learning skills. When you actually want to put something in a gallery, again, of course, you have to do something original, right? You can't say I copied a Michelangelo and put that in an art gallery. But when you start out, it's a really good way to learn skills and to practice. Okay, so shading. I'm just thinking, I'm sorry, I'm thinking, do I want to start with a dark or a light? And I want to leave the gray paper here as the middle. So I'm actually going to get my white charcoal pencil. I'm going to do a little bit more erasing before I put in some lights. And I'm going to look for areas on the face that are really light. And I'm going to start putting them in with the white charcoal pencil. And I'm going to start right here. The last drawing that I did, the one on the black paper, was very heavy, and meaning that there was a lot of chalk piled on it, right? I'm going to try to make this one lighter so you can see kind of a different technique, right? Less chalk, less. The heavy means it's like loaded and loaded and loaded with layers of chalk. I'm going to try to make this one a little bit more delicate. And you can try that too, and then you can see which technique that you like. So like there's not a lot of, I mean, I may do more than that. I'm starting delicate. There's a lighter stripe like right here on like the bone of the nose. So I'm putting that in. And this kind of comes up into the forehead. It's going to need more than that, but I'm just trying to get big areas of light. I'm blocking in again, big areas of value. And it'll help me when I want to refine later, like having the big areas in the drawing is going to help me refine. I'm just looking for highlights and I'm trying to block those in. I'm trying not to go too fast. I'm taking my time. Okay. I may make this into 2 videos, but I'm going to try to go another few minutes. I'm going to go into the white area of the eye. All right. I'm now changing to the black charcoal pencil and I'm going to look for areas of dark. Again, shadows. So I'm looking for major areas of shadow and I'm trying to block those in. Okay. Now, the eyes, I need to work on the eyeballs, but also I didn't put in the lid. The only thing that I don't like about there's a lot of things I do like about the chalk and charcoal pencil drawings, but the only thing I don't like is that sometimes it's hard to get a really defined line with the charcoal pencil. Like it's kind of like it rubs off and it gets a little sketchy. So it's hard to get like a really detailed drawing, but there's some other things that are really positive about it, like its blending qualities. So, I mean, I recommend trying out the different mediums, the different papers, and seeing what you like and what you don't like. I'm just making the eyebrows a little thicker. So there's a light here, a medium here, and a dark here, and it gets light again on the end. I'm trying not to press too hard. It needs blending as well. And I didn't put, okay, so I did the top of the eye. Sorry, I'm going all over the place, but sometimes that's how I work. And then the under eye circle, I want to put that in as well. And here, right here, you're seeing, that was a little, sorry, I'm going all over the place. This is a shadow right here that the hair is casting on the face. And also the eye, but we'll worry about the eye later. I'm just going to get that shadow in there. It still needs a lot of work. I'm going to, the hair is a big part of this drawing, so I'm going to try to put in some of the line work in the hair, like strands, but I don't want to be too like anal about it or it'll take me like 5 hours. I'm just making lines and they're actually supposed to be strands of hair, but they're also, I mean, I can't get it exactly like the picture, so they're also just going in the same direction as the chunk of hair, like cross contour lines. That'll be refined. I'm just trying to get some line work in just so we know that it's hair. There's also lights in it, but let's just try to get some of the line work in, which will be refined later. Just trying to get the curves kind of correct. And of course, I mean, to get the hair exactly like her hair, that's not going to be possible, but as correct as it can be. This is kind of an under sketch for the hair, getting started. And it's, I mean, in a way, a very detailed cross contour. And then later it will have some highlights. I'm just trying to get the correct direction right now. Okay, and now there's a little bit more right here. I'm probably going to stop this in a few minutes and start another video, but let me try to do as much of the hair as I can. There's another chunk right here. Hair can be as detailed or as messy as you want it to be. Detailed hair is going to take a long time. I'm just getting the direction. I know I moved there, but I wanted to get this in first before I pulled any more down here. Because her hair is like flipping over right here. Again, mine is not exactly like the picture. I'm just doing my best in the time that I have. I'm trying to do something that could take like 5 or 6 hours and, 20, 30 minutes or an hour. So in your own drawings, you would take a lot more time refining these, right? And it's just something that you have to get used to, that it can take like 4 or 5 hours to do a drawing. So I'm having the hair come around the ear. I don't know if that looks, it's not exactly like the picture, but it's close enough. Okay, up here. So there's strands in the hair, there's cross contour directions in the hair, and then there's also highlights, which I haven't put in yet. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with the hair, but I'm going to stop the video here and then restart because I can't record for that long. and I'll put in some hair in between. So I finished the lines in the hair, and I added a little bit of shading to the neck just to speed things along. So I'm going to go into the hair for a minute, and I'm looking for areas. So the hair does not look like this. That was just, I mean, it kind of looks like this, but there's more to it than this. That was a starting point for me to get some hair, to get the lines and the directional lines that the hair was going. But some areas of the hair are darker, just like it's like an object. So if it was like a sphere, right, where the light is hitting it, there's highlights in the hair, right? So, and there where the light isn't hitting it, there's darker areas. And it's kind of challenging because there's also areas in between that are strands that are picking up areas of light and dark when they rise and fall, or areas in between the strands. And this is, I mean, I'm not going to get it perfect, but I'm going to get it a little bit better than it looks right now. So I have my white. So like right here, there's a highlight, and our hair is not lighter. It's just like light is hitting right here. So there's a highlight coming across the strands of hair right here. And it's kind of getting a little bit bigger. So the cross contour strands of the hair, or the actual strands of the hair, which are right now made in cross contour lines, are showing us the shape of the head, and the shading, which is like highlights on the hair, is also showing us the shape of the head. Okay. So now I'm going to come back down here where the strands are kind of getting darker. And I'm darkening the strands. But I don't want to make them so dark that there's no gray paper showing. So I'm still trying to show the gray paper. And then, you know how you're doing areas that are light and dark? Well, there's also like some strands of hair, depending on the person, that are lighter and darker. So that adds another level of complexity. And then the hair strands are in like chunks. Like here's a chunk, here's a chunk, here's a chunk. I'm not showing that in the best way right now, but just another thing to keep in mind. And mine is definitely not perfect by any means, but this is a way to get started. You have to decide how much detail you want to do. And it's a little bit challenging with the charcoal pencil, but I'm going to do as much as I can. And like there's one chunk, and then here's another chunk. I'm trying to, so since it's light right here, I try to leave a little bit of gray area because it would be light gray and then darker, if that makes sense. And And then this one comes a little bit over the ear. Okay. Trying to get a little bit darker right near this edge, but I'll probably work on that later. And then before I go any further, I'm going to take a little bit of a look at the headband. Just trying to get it a little bit more blocked in, and then I'll add the detail later. But since I'm drawing around it, I just want to get that contour cemented in there. There's like a fold in the middle, which I'm trying to put in. And it kind of curves along this edge. Okay. Now I'm going to, that still needs work, but everything in layers. The way I draw, everyone is different, but I do layer after layer after layer, and I work around the drawing. That way, like, you're kind of seeing how everything is in relation to each other. Here's a chunk right here. And there's another chunk right here. If you try to get it, like if you're looking at someone or you're looking at a picture and you try to get it exactly the same, you'll drive yourself crazy. So you just do the best that you can do. And I feel like this, what did I do wrong? I'm noticing a mistake right now. I feel like this comes out more. Okay. So I'm going to come back up here and just put in some more strands. There's many different artists that do hair in many different ways. Some of it is very detailed and some of it is very sketchy, gestural, or loose. And some of it is mixed. So some artists will do like some of it in detail and some of it sketchy or gestural or loose. This part of the hair is kind of weird because it's up here. So I'm actually gonna, it has an area of light and dark on it. Like it's like an object with a highlight on it. So I'm gonna put that in and then maybe put some strands in. So this is the part that's kind of darker. I have my paintbrush again too, just to blend. Okay, and then up here, I'm getting the white charcoal pencil because there's definite highlights on it. And then it gets a little bit darker. And this is not the hair strands. It's just like if it was a shape or a circle. That's the strands that you're seeing, or that I'm not the strands. I'm sorry. It's the areas of light. So the strands will be over this, but I'm trying to get the value in first. Okay, so that was kind of like the shading on the top of the head that's coming out over the headband. And that needs more work. Again, layer, layer, layer. And, but I need to put in some stuff here. I'll come back to the headband. I'm trying not to I'm trying to do this, I show you as much as I can, but it's a long process. And I'm trying to shorten the long process in the video. So there's another area of highlight on the hair right here. And then it's darker right here. And there's a little tiny bit of light right here. So far, we've been showing the areas of light and dark on the hair with line, mostly, instead of blending, except for right here. But this is just showing it with line. There's a curl right there. Just want to erase this. The charcoal pencil erases, by the way. Okay. And this is a chunk, or like a group of strands that's grouped together. And there's some more right here. And then there's another curl coming out over here. And it's a little different. I'm doing it slightly differently than the sketches that I made, because the sketches were kind of sketches, right? So I'm just noticing, where does it need to be changed, and changing it. And I'm going to erase some of this under here. Okay. And a little, this is not exactly, it's hard to get it exactly the same as what you're looking at. So it's a little tiny bit different, but I'm okay with that. Alrighty, now there's hair hanging out under here that kind of, it's strands, but it looks like shading. And it's pretty dark right here, but it's getting lighter as you go down. I'm just adding some dark, and I may add some light to this as well. I'm trying to add some dark, leave some gray showing, and then I'm going to add some light. Okay. I'm going to, I wanted to do more on the face, but I just wanted to, I haven't done any hair demonstrations for you, so I wanted to get that in. I still need to do a bit more down here. This hair could use 1 or 2 more layers. I'm trying to do as much as I can. I'm making this line a little bit darker because it flips over right here. That's like a chunk. And then we're seeing another chunk right here. And then I'm looking over on this side. And this area of hair is a little bit not, it's not as, it's a little bit more sketchy. It's not as defined. I'm going to make this line higher for the neck. Okay, let's leave it at that for now for the hair because I want to show you some shading on the face and maybe we'll come back to the hair. We'll see. Okay, so I just want to, I'm just going to sharpen these pencils a little bit. Okay. Oh, that one came out really nice. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the face, and the ear is the first thing that pops out to me that's really not finished. So this is why we did the ears, because they're kind of challenging and you may have to do them in a portrait. So I'm just trying to put in some of the shading. It's not going to be perfect. Again, the ear can take a really long time. So that's a start, and I'm going to put in some lights. And remember, all ears are different. So there's no, I mean, there's kind of a generalized kind of type of ear, but I'm trying to make this white so it doesn't look just like a line of white, so it blends into the gray. Then there was this dark area, and there's also a light area right here on the edge. So I'm looking again for values, and it comes down right here. Okay, I'm going to look at the eyes, the nose, and the mouth need to be more defined, and then maybe the skin. So I'm going to start with the nose. So I'm putting the nostril in as a dark. And then right here, you're seeing this light area, right? But then here it gets a little bit darker. So I'm trying to define the features by adding shading. And this white is going to come more over here. And this is going to come down like that. It needs a little bit more blending, but I'm just trying to get this in first. So I'm just looking for areas of light and dark, because I put in kind of some big chunks at first, but I wasn't looking at detail, which is going to define it even more. So right here, there's a light on this eyelid, which you can kind of see it through the hair. And then it's getting kind of lighter right here because it's sticking out. And then I'm not really, like, I'm trying to, this is a lighter drawing again. The other one was really drenched in charcoal. I'm trying to make those kinds of lines that go around the eye. But it's a little bit hard with the charcoal pencil. I'm just defining these lines a little bit more because they get kind of erased or diminished when you're shading. That looks not exactly like an eye, but oh well. And there's kind of a light, this highlight comes right here. It actually goes over this black. So again, you're seeing that this is a lot of time consuming layering. It's actually, to me, I know I'm getting on a little tangent here, but I think that it is quite relaxing, but it does take a lot of time and a lot of layering to kind of get it right. And you have to be kind of patient to do it. You have to kind of redefine a lot of stuff. It can really literally take hours. Like I could spend a whole day working on this just so you have the kind of the time frame of what you might spend doing this. Okay. Now, this shadow I'm going to move over from the hair. So remember, this is kind of a cast shadow from the hair, but I'm moving it over. So you're constantly moving stuff, just a part of it. And some people get frustrated, but if you just do it with patience, it's not, it can be very meditative. So and relaxing. But it's a lot of doing and redoing, layering and relayering. Okay. Now, this part here is dark as well because it's because of the bone structure. And it's a little bit darker above the eyelid. I'm getting the paintbrush. Okay. And then I'm going to redefine this line here. And if you have, the patience to practice, you will definitely get better. It's a practice thing, So, but some people, they start getting frustrated when they practice. So if you practice, you're going to get better. It often takes like a lot of drawings where you're doing some and then you're throwing them away and then you're starting again. But that's how you get better. I'm just seeing what I need to do right now. So I'm going to come here. To find this area. And right here, there's a highlight. So I'm just looking for areas of lights and darks. And right here, there's kind of a really bright highlight on the like ball or bulb of the nose. And there's some light in here. And I need to take a look. I mean, this area around the features needs more work too in terms of shading, but I'm still, the features, I mean, that's one other layer, but I mean, of course they need more. Um, but I'm going to show you as much as I can, as I think that you would need to get started. And so I wouldn't have to make like a 10-15 hour video, but there's the cast shadow of the nose. And then above the lips, I'm going to make this dark come in a little bit and make this come out a little bit. And then above the lips, well, actually, I'm going to go back into the lips. They need a little bit more shading. It's pretty dark right here along this crease. And in this lip, it's dark on the bottom. But there's areas of highlight. So I'm going to try to get this part on the bottom dark. And then I'm going to try to get the areas of highlight right here. I'm going back and forth between areas of highlight on the face and areas of highlight on the lips. It's just because I see something that needs to be changed and I want to change it right away. I'm blending with the paintbrush. And okay, so the features still may need another layer, but let's take a look at the shading on the face. That's another thing that needs a little bit more work. I'm going to define this line, this contour line on the outside of the face, just making it darker and more clear. Then I'm going to look for the shading on the face. Let me do some more defining of lines. Okay. Now, the shading on the faces needs a lot of work. So, I'm going to start right here. And there's white right here. I'm just looking for things that I need to correct or define. Lighten or darken or blend. That's what I'm looking for right now. That needs... This is kind of in shadow, so I'm just emphasizing that. And there's more dark areas down here. Again, this is not perfect. I'm just looking for areas of light and dark that need to be corrected. I made this line too long. I don't want that line there. Okay. And it's kind of dark right here and it comes up right here. Then here, there's a white highlight right here, but the darkness comes up above it. And right now when I'm shading, I'm trying to shade with the contour of the cheek. They're not cross contour lines, but you can still see the direction of the shading. So it's giving a cross contour feeling to the shading, and it's helping define the curve of the face. You don't have to do that, but I recommend trying it when you're shading. Because, like, say if I was just going up and down, it's not going to give you that curved feel. And I haven't done that everywhere. Like, I didn't do it right there, but just something to keep in mind and something I recommend. And okay, so right here, this darkness kind of comes out here a little bit, but it's not as dark. It's kind of lighter. Right here, you're kind of seeing this darkness come down here where there's like a smile crease. Maybe that's kind of a smile crease too, but you can't really, it's hard to tell. And there's more white up here. There's a little bit of grayish area right here. It's starting to, I mean, it doesn't look perfect by any means, but it's starting to look kind of okay. I mean, I could spend a couple more hours on this. So in the neck, I'm putting in the lines, but I'm also shading lines, but I'm trying to do them in a cross contour direction. Okay, now, I mean, I could do a lot more work on this. I don't want to make the video too long. I'm going to do a little bit more on the hair though. It's probably 2 45-minute videos, and that's kind of a long time. So I'm going to define some areas of hair. I'm kind of trying to define chunks. And maybe put in some dark right here. Oops, I forgot about the headband as well. That makes it look a little bit better. Um, and I'm not doing that much. I'm just defining chunky, I guess, chunks of hair. Just pulling in just kind of doing a contour around the chunk and pulling in a little bit of dark at the top and at the bottom of the chunk. I could do way more, but that's just what I'm doing right now. Okay, and that's making a big difference. So each little step that you do makes a difference. It just takes quite a bit of time. But if you're at home, you can do it to, you can do this one or a different one, and you could do it to the video, or you can turn on some music and listen to some music or a lecture while you're doing this. And that kind of takes out some of the uh, tedious work. I mean, it doesn't seem so boring if you have like a lecture you're listening to or a video you're watching or some music you're listening to. And it's not perfect by any means, but it's looking a lot better. So, I mean, it's just layer after layer after layer step. I'm going to make this part a little bit lighter right here. And that's not in the picture. I mean, this doesn't look exactly like the picture, but I was thinking that since this is sticking out, it might be lighter. So, I mean, when you're using a picture, you're using it for reference. But I mean, if you go in another direction, that's fine too, right? I'm going to put some lights over here as well. And since I have my white out, I'm just going to redefine these highlights. Okay. And then I'm going to come over to this side and look at this hair. And I'm going to redefine the chunks as well, or recontour the chunks. And I want to go a little bit darker on the bottom. I want to leave that one actually lighter because it's dark right here. So in contrast. And let's pull this one in as a dark. And I'm going a little bit off of the picture right now. I'm just kind of putting in what I think looks good, but a little bit more definition in the ear. Okay, so now I need to look at this headband because it's not done. And again, you know, some artists leave certain areas undone and it's on purpose, right? So I'm going to go light right here. And so there's shading on the headband and folds, but I'm just going to do a little bit of the shading. And so there's the light. And then I'm going to add some dark. So this right here is a fold. So there's a little bit of dark coming up from the fold, not that much. And a little bit of light underneath the fold. Okay, and then I didn't ever put any strands up here. So I'm going to come up here and try to put in some strands within the shading. I'm going to go dark right here. And then have some of them carry through. Again, you don't have to draw every single strand of hair. I mean, you can if you want to, but. And then I'm going to have a few over here. Okay, so I mean, I don't want to make this video too long because I feel like it's already been almost 50 minutes. So I'm going to leave it. Well, actually, I'm going to get my paintbrush and try to do a little tiny bit of blending. And gosh, I can start messing with it and then it's a little darker under this line. So, I mean, I'm going to start seeing things and start trying to fix them, but I don't want to make this too long. So, I mean, there's my drawing and it came from this photo. It's definitely not exactly the same. Like this, already I can see that this part of the face is too big. Like it's smaller on this one. But I mean, it still looks like a portrait and it's close enough. If I wanted, I could perfect this for a couple more hours and I could also do it again to try to make it look more like the picture that I used. Actually, I'm seeing one more thing that I need to do. Put in some light right here. Just to, that looks horrible. Just to get some of that shading and the shading lines. This was more delicate than the first one. Again, it doesn't have as much chalk on it. I'm really trying to let the paper show through, but that looks really bad. That needs more work, but I don't want to make this video too long. So I'm going to stop it here. And I would work more on this for a couple more hours.